Very
Yeah,
Joker.
I'm crazy like the Joker. See a girl's dick and I stroke her. Ask about man cock and that's a no for the moment until Hassan come over.
Mustard
Choking down on that shit like it's Stouffer's.
Amen, bro. Amen.
I brought real hip hop back. What's up, little comers? We're back at it again with another very special episode of the world's first ever podcast, Come Posting. I'll be your co-host. I mean fucking host, Rosa. And I'm joined today by ambient noise artist. It's ambient noise, right? Or is it just
Yes,
ambient?
that is correct. Yes.
Okay, I'm so smart. Ambient noise artist, video essayist, and Brad Tasted music fan. Ash2Ash.
That's the most important one. That's the most important. Glad you got that in there. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sick. Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
I was sick of watching good movies.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know, and so we decided to watch a great movie today.
Exactly. Finally, the only movie that matters. You know?
Many call it the Citizen Kane of movies.
Exactly.
Yeah. We got a private screening at a film festival. We were very lucky, very
Sundance,
prestigious.
yeah.
Martin Scorsese was there.
John Cena was there too.
Yeah. It was an honor to meet. They're my two biggest inspirations, frankly.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, totally.
Like, that's why I don't have face cam on for these videos. If it weren't for John Cena, I'd have to do it. But he paved the way for
sure.
audio only podcasting, frankly.
Yeah.
And now, Martin Scorsese, I think he's Italian or something. So it was just an honor. And the movie we saw was a Russian film. I think it was called Flyed the movie. It had that weird reversed R.
Right. Yeah.
Let me
like in the extreme horror kind of camp.
It
comparable
was it was sort of a postmodern horror film where the horror lied within the horror in the movie was sort of masked by the score and the editing decisions.
For sure. It was very much like a surrealist kind of vibe.
It was
very Midsommar.
It was very Nickelodeon in that sense.
That's true too.
The fantastic story of the exploitation of child actresses and actors, iCarly.
You can tell they did their research too. You know.
There's a lot of influences in that sort of horror genre.
And speaking of iCarly, Jeanette McCurdy is in this one. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah. It was, and when you read her book, she actually method acted as a depressed teenager for this role.
Yeah. I can't. Man.
Her mom, she plays a character from a broken home in this movie, and her mom had to commit to the abusive parent bit.
Yeah.
Really, really hard for that. It was directed by Clay Weiner.
But Clay Weiner, yeah. The
Um,
only director that matters, you know?
yeah,
God,
you might know him from Blue Mountain State. Um, the Based on the poster of this movie, this looks like softcore pornography.
it really does, doesn't it? It
Yeah,
really does.
um, yeah, really, really talented director. Clearly, um,
I
um,
don't I don't even know how to approach talking about this
oh, I
movie.
do.
I, you do?
It's
Glad.
yeah.
I'm
You
so
think it's almost it's almost like I do this regularly.
right. Yeah, I don't I'm not even really like that big on movies. Like a lot of the people you've brought like
Well,
on so
after you
far
watch
know
this
what they're
movie, what's
talking
the
about.
point?
True, true. Yeah. So we didn't really talk about this, but I feel like it's important context, especially as we kind of go into like a conversation about this movie. Have you seen this before?
Wait, no, but hold up, pause.
Okay.
This movie was written by David A. Goodman, a writer for Family Guy, The Golden Girls, Futurama, where he was a co-executive producer and wrote the Star Trek episode Where No Fan Has Gone Before, and Star Trek Enterprise. What?
That makes sense, yeah. For sure. I see the
This
influence
guy's
personally.
talented. This is legitimately sad.
This guy can write a movie.
This guy wrote one of the most acclaimed Futurama episodes. That's actually
That's that's fucking incredible.
wait, no, wait. I
Wow.
have to look this guy's eye. I'm actually depressed. Wait, wait. I need to look at this guy's
Oh my
IMDb.
god.
Oh no, he produced Family. Okay, I can't feel too bad
That's
for him.
wild.
Um.
That's insane.
Oh, he worked on the Orville. This guy sucks, actually.
Okay, okay.
Let's
Pack it up,
see.
pack it up. It's over.
Wow. Anyway, um,
Uh,
this was my first time watching the Fred movie.
Got you. So this
Um,
was your first time. This
yeah, I
was
got my Fred virginity taken away.
this was nowhere near my first time. Um
Damn,
I
you're a
so
Fred head.
I am a Fred head, exactly. So I like kind of in a way grew up on this movie, but not willingly. Back in like
That's the most fucked
2010.
up shit. That's like saying I grew up addicted to heroin and it wasn't my choice.
Yeah,
That's like was your mom injecting Fred the movie while you were in the womb?
no, um so back in like 2010, 2011, every once in a while like I'd be like visiting my dad or whatever. And like
Oh, you're a
back
child of a
then,
broken home. If you're
naturally
anywhere
this
near
would
as
lead me
annoying
to
as
the Fred
Fred,
movie.
then you probably caused your parents' divorce. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah. Fred was like my comfort character. You
You
know?
related to him.
Yeah. No,
You related
so
to the disabled child of an alcoholic
yeah.
mother
Yeah. So like growing up, like
who's
we
liked
kind of
by
had
no.
like at like his house in our basement, we had kind of like this like entertainment center type vibe. And I
Where he
would be
watched his porn
constantly
DVDs.
on like my Nickelodeon shit, right? I'd be growing up like watching Mighty B, Making Fiends. I was a big like Nicktoons head at the time. They had like the Penguins of Madagascar show, Kung Fu Panda, but constantly for some reason, even on Nicktoons, if I'm not mistaken, they would constantly air the fucking Fred movie. nonstop, like alongside the channel where there were a ton of cartoons, like the cartoon channel.
Dude, if
So
I had a kid that every time they came to visit me, they watched the Fred movie, I think I would kill myself.
I wouldn't blame you. So, like, constantly this thing was airing, and it was like drugs
It
for
it really is
my
a
like 10-year
is
old brain.
this it just has a indescribable like sort of key jangling
Yeah,
vibe.
it was like brain rot before there was brain rot. Like
Yeah, it's
the
it felt like a um a filthy Frank lore episode for children.
genuinely, it's like the modern day equivalent to this is like Elsa Gate shit. Like
Yeah,
that is the progression of time that we've had.
yeah. Um
This was like the nexus. This was like fucking DEF CON brain rot.
yeah, this
Like,
was like Kanye West DEF CON through and through.
yeah. So,
Um but
yeah,
let's get into plot summary.
for sure.
Opening
This,
shot. Fred's facing the camera. He knows we're watching.
he does. He is
Who are we?
immediately
We
brilliant.
don't know. But he's aware.
He is aware.
He's a he's aware of the situation he finds himself in.
We are
And
merely
then he
vessels
remarks that it's Friday, which rhymes with Fred
for
Day.
Fred Day. And then he continues to repeat that, of course.
And then he
Friday,
says that he's gonna get
Fred Day.
5 days off from school, which we don't see.
We do not see that. That never comes up again.
Which that establishes a couple things. One, we have an unreliable narrator, who's suffering from some sort of schizotypal personality disorder,
Yeah.
and is perhaps using substances, perhaps crack cocaine in heavy doses. We're not sure.
This movie is very like ayahuasca pilled. It's insane.
Yeah. Then hard cut, middle school. A bunch of 20-year-olds are walking out of the middle school because
You say
this.
hard cut, but keep in mind every 2 seconds there's a
Oh,
hard
they.
cut. Like
Yeah,
like
it
you
just.
can assume that for the entire movie, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to make it more dramatic. Then we see Fred's disturbing sexual proclivities,
Oh my
which is the
god.
driving, which is what drives this movie forward.
Yeah.
Is he stalks Judy and her car ride
Yeah.
back to her house, writing down every detail in a notebook,
Yep.
which has notes for every day of that week, meaning that he does this perhaps every day for nobody knows how long. He's
Yeah.
mentioned knowing this girl later on, since elementary school.
Yeah, it's truly terrifying. If
It's
anyone out
it's scary.
if anyone out there has seen like the intro to the movie Halloween, like the original, like pretty much just replace like the Halloween killer guy with Fred, and that's the opening to this movie. No
Yeah,
exaggeration. Like just this creepy guy with a mask following like a high schooler.
he's just like a, an incel. He's an incel in this movie.
Oh
The
yeah.
average 4chan user has some sort of undiagnosed disability. Their mom's
Yeah.
a alcoholic, and they stalk women.
Yeah. It very much feels like a closeted like gay dude who's like
Which is
taking his
funny because
anger
of
out on the world.
who created Fred. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe this is a commentary on his life, actually.
True. It's a biopic. Like a
Yeah.
true crime documentary.
Um. Yeah, and if as if things couldn't get more disturbing, Judy, the girl he's stalking, turns out to be British.
Dear God. This is when
Um,
I knew that this movie was like up there with like Martyrs, Wolf Creek, like all of that shit. Uh,
dude. But I'm crazy like the Joker. So I was right.
yeah, me too. Me too.
But
Very
yeah,
Joker
I'm
themed.
crazy like the Joker. See a girl's dick and I stroke her.
Uh,
Ask about mancock and that's a no for it. The moment until Hassan come over.
mustard on
Choking down on that
the
shit like it's Stouffer's.
Amen, bro. Amen.
I brought real hip hop back.
Hell yeah. Speaking of mustard on the beat, by the way, we before we go any further, we do have to address that new Drake song.
We'll get into that. We'll get
We
into
will?
that. Don't
Okay.
worry.
Good,
Don't
good,
worry.
good. Okay,
We're
awesome.
doing we're doing the plot summary. Um After you see him stalk this random woman, um he just faces the camera again and he says, "This was the worst day ever." And again, it cuts to him in a different outfit than the one he went to school in. Like a weird private school uniform
Yeah.
against a brick wall getting pelted with dodgeballs by a bunch of guys.
It's fucking insane, dude.
And Judy tells them to stop. And I don't know if it's meant to be real.
Yeah, so this is one of the most fascinating things about the movie. You never know if what you're looking at is actually happening or a figment of Fred's imagination.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a non-linear plot from a being told by an unreliable narrator with delusions of grandeur. So,
the
which is very high art for a Nickelodeon TV movie, and
yeah, like
credit where credit's due. Like,
the funniest thing about this movie to me is that like it slowly turns into like Bo is afraid type shit.
it
Like it fully
if you
becomes
change the music in this movie, which I am literally going to do right after this, I am making
oh
a
yeah.
composting edit of the movie. It would be a banger psychological horror film.
Oh right? Yeah. It's yeah, literally the only movie I can compare it to is like Bo is Afraid, like some Ari Aster bullshit. Like God.
Yeah.
Fuck man.
Then he talks about how he's a good singer and says and starts singing "Somebody Call 911."
Shorty fire burning on the
Shorty
dance
fire
floor.
on the
Yeah.
dance floor, oh, which is a banger.
Of course, of course, of course.
Except they keep cutting to it every time the police are mentioned,
Hmm.
which kind of ruins it. Every good joke that they have in this movie, which there are some, because I mean, like good writers and good comics end up at Nickelodeon doing
Right.
these sorts of things. So a couple good jokes are bound to slip in, but they try their darndest to make them not land.
Yeah, yeah, they really do.
Then the in the funniest joke in the movie, he's thinking about what he should do to get Judy. He says, "I wish my dad was here." And then there's a this like fucking Django Unchained ass zoom behind him, and John Cena dressed as himself does a slow turn in a lazy boy chair
Yep.
and just like starts hitting Fred and like giving him bad advice about, well, good advice in the logic of the movie, because the movie's misogynistic and they think that if you harass a woman enough, they'll like
Yeah.
you. It's very Schneiderian in that sense. You can really tell that Nickelodeon made this movie in 2010.
Right.
Um, and he goes out having taken John Cena's advice, and it in a kind of creepy way where you don't know if it's real. All the three other characters in this movie are the only other houses in the cul-de-sac, which gives it
Yeah.
this just uncanny, strange
Yeah,
vibe.
it feels very like backroomsy a lot of the times. Like very liminal space, very insular, like deserted shit. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Um.
Also, sorry, we forgot one of the best jokes of the entire movie, even before like the John Cena bit. We get introduced to like Judy for the first time, and there's
Oh
just
my
like
god.
this
Yeah.
PNG upscale of like a woman, and then that happens two more times after that in
Yeah.
like
It's
the
a filthy
first five
Frank
minutes.
joke.
Yeah, it
It this movie really had me thinking. I was like, damn, Fred is just filthy Frank for kids.
genuinely it fully feels like a Filthy Frank vibe. Like
There's like there's just weird random like Eric Andre type jokes in this movie. But again, they always find a way to make them not land. They find a way to take an okay joke and make it unfunny. It's very
yeah,
impressive.
they like either
Uh,
throw in like the strangest dynamic ever, or they like repeat the joke so many times that like your brain kind of fries.
yeah, they get an okay joke and then they just beat it into the ground until it's no longer an okay joke.
Yeah.
But also John Cena like fucking body slams him
Into a table.
into
Yeah.
the table, and it's hilarious. He like gets seriously hurt in this movie, and it's very funny because he deserves it because he's a horrible person in this film, and we'll get into that. But after learning that when a woman isn't interested in you, you should start harassing her from John Cena.
That
After learning that from Dan Schneider, who probably had something to do with the writing of this movie,
of course,
um,
of course.
he goes out into the cul-de-sac, and who else is waiting for him but Kevin,
Kevin.
the
Now,
best character in this movie.
Kevin is fascinating because
Kevin Kevin is a white boy that listens to rage music
he literally has
and
like
Limp Bizkit.
he has like the Fred Durst red hat on at all times. That's like his signature bit.
Yeah, he thinks he has the right to say the N-word, and he has a weirdly diverse friend group that is weirdly chill with it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to argue with him.
Yeah. Another fascinating thing about Kevin, which I picked up on, was every single like shot of his, like every time they pan away and then cut back to him, he's wearing his hat in a completely different way.
Which
So
if that's intentional, that's so funny. It's
if it's
like
intentional, it's
it's
incredible.
a
But
sideways hat, and they just keep playing it at different angles. If that's intentional, it's hilarious.
yeah,
If
yeah.
that's a technical mistake, that makes a lot more sense because this movie sucks ass. Um,
Either way, it's glorious.
Either
Like
way,
it.
it's funny. Because it's a comedy, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that was intentional. So
Yeah.
that's a
Uh,
good bit.
the more that I think about it, the more I think it is intentional because there are other characters with hats that don't have that problem.
Yeah, they managed to do one good joke.
Yeah,
In the no, they have a few, but that's a
there's a
good
few.
ongoing joke that they don't beat into the ground.
John Cena is a great bit.
Don't spoil anymore. Don't.
We talked about John Cena.
Oh,
That
okay. I
wasn't
thought you were gonna
spoilery.
like go through all of the good jokes in this movie.
Well, all of the good jokes are like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Kinda, but Kevin is like, "Hey, Fecklehorn, did you
Yeah.
just come from the gay sex convention?"
Every
Feck-
time that every time like they say Fred's last name, which is Figglehorn, and it feels like a slur.
the way he says it makes it feel like he's combining "feck" in the N word.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so it's so
Dude.
funny. Um, but he's like this dude bro who's all he's like Hassan. He's like this dude bro who's also like woke as fuck and a feminist.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
in fact, you could go sexually harass that woman. Don't do it. She
Yeah.
doesn't like you.
Yeah.
Defending women's pride.
Yeah.
Um,
The thing is like there are plenty of sections in this movie where it doesn't even feel like Kevin is a bully.
it feels
Like
he has like weird vibes where he's playing on this tough persona, but you can tell deep down he cares about Fred
yeah.
and doesn't want him to keep like effing up and
Yeah.
being a creepy weirdo.
There are fully some points where it feels like almost like a tsundere stereotype, like enemies to lovers plotline.
It's
Like
very
fully.
it's very weird.
Yeah.
Um so he fucking they get into an argument. Fred says that he can't sing and he gets weirdly sensitive about it. It's like, what do you mean I can't sing? This my cul-de-sac, throws up the C for cul-de-sac. You try to play with me? Then white boy chases Fred, and Fred's horrified. Um, and he barricades himself, and there's banging on the door. It turns out that the one banging on the door was his alcoholic mother,
Yes. This is very important.
who he lets in, and she just seems so tired of her son.
Yeah. Does she ever get like a name, or is it just like
No,
Fred's alcoholic mother?
it, it's so sad. She's a single mother who is living paycheck to paycheck based on how Fred talks about his mom's work, potentially working as a sex worker based on certain jokes in the movie, and it's just deeply sad.
Yeah. Like Fred's mom has like maybe the biggest like cougar energy imaginable throughout the
Not in a
movie.
good way, in like a
Oh
trashy
no, in a
trailer park
horrible
way,
way. Like yeah, like full on like
in a
dyed red
sexual
hair.
harassment lawsuit kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Um,
But
yeah,
at the same time, she's maybe the most level-headed character in the entire movie besides another character who
yeah, which
we'll
will,
get into.
yeah,
But like especially during the first half, she's like the like voice of the audience. Like she's
yeah,
like talking about Fred's voice being annoying and like you can you can feel that having to raise Fred ruined her life.
yeah. You
Like
can it, it's so sad.
yeah.
Um, and and I think if the soundtrack was changed, it would highlight that, which is why I'm so excited to re-edit this movie
Oh yeah,
with a
totally.
different soundtrack.
Yeah.
Um, but because he can't go into the cul-de-sac to sexually harass Judy because Limp Biscuit is in the cul-de-sac. He
Right.
decides to jump a wall that was built probably to keep Fred away,
Yeah.
um, with a trampoline.
Now, now keep in mind he's using this like like this trampoline or whatever, but the wall is like 2 feet maximum.
It's
Like
climbable. They couldn't have built like a bigger wall for
th- they they
comedic
they
effect.
they actively go out of their way to like not have Fred stand next to the wall so that way you could see that like oh he could easily climb this wall.
Yeah. Fred, having just read the Hamas charter, decides that he's going to
God.
paraglide to liberate.
My
That
God.
doesn't work though.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and Jeanette McCurdy mocks him. She's goth.
Yes.
She's a goth femcel.
So Jeanette McCurdy in this movie is a character named Bertha, and she's like in this Ebony Darkness Dementia Raven Way cosplay, pretty much.
She's like the chick from Death Note.
Yes, exactly. And like it's very weird because
You know that girl that
immediately
you went to high school with, that BPD? I dated her. It was a big mistake. She's like her.
yeah, yeah. It it's really odd because pretty much immediately they set up that there's like another romantic interest there in some capacity because like Fred is going on about how this like wall is there so that way like they can keep them away from each other and stuff.
He was a
And
4chan
it's
boy. She was a Tumblr girl. Them selling sell. Gonna change the world. That was the vibe.
yeah, yeah. God, I'm drained by this movie. We like just watched it like 30 minutes ago and like I'm struggling to gather thoughts.
I'm hyped up on Addie right now. I'm feeling great.
I
Um,
I, I feel like my soul has been drained. Like
Drain Yang.
for real, for real.
um, she also reasonably says you should stop sexually harassing women. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Shut up." He goes back. He goes back to his room. He reads the Hamas charter again. He's like, "Of course, I must dig a tunnel," and he begins
Yes.
digging a tunnel.
Yeah.
And then
and-
he, um,
so this bit
and then
goes on for
he
like
keeps
5
digging,
minutes.
and then all of a sudden, wait, recut, recut.
Please don't actually cut that. That makes it so much funnier.
He ends up in the land of the rising dragon. Play a gong. The land of the emperor with the stone guys.
China, he digs to China.
He digs all the way to China.
He
我在
he
北京，
He's like, I dig all the way to China.
but here's the thing for we find out pretty much immediately after this. Um, well, we'll get more into this later, but like we find out that like the love interest, um, I've already forgotten her name. What's her
Bertha,
name?
Bertha.
No, no, not
Oh,
Bertha.
Judy.
Bertha's Judy, right? Yeah, Judy moved away, and there's Asian people who moved in. So there's a hidden bit here, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
where he dug under this person's lawn, got to the house like he wanted to, realized there were like Asian people there, and then said, "Oh, I dug to China."
He said, thanks, Joe Biden. the, the Chinaman comes and steals my woman.
There's
Which he does literally say. He
yeah.
literally says that Chinese people stole his
No,
woman and
not stole, kidnapped.
kidnapped his woman and
Like
calls the police.
this is this
Um,
bit goes on for so long and it's so racist.
it's yeah.
Like it's so racist.
I'm
It's
surprised that they
actually
do it. Didn't
fucking
I was
insane.
waiting for like the dog joke, or I was waiting for something. You can tell that whoever wrote this just did not like Chinese people.
Yeah. Clay
Which
Wiener.
is so
Clay
common in
Wiener.
early 2000s comedy. Like, look, I watched Ted like late
Yeah.
last year. There's just like yellow face in it partway through. It's
Here's
so over the top and just unexpected.
here's the thing though, is like this isn't like early 2000s even.
Oh, it's
This came out in
2010.
2010. This came out in 2010.
To be fair, I I rewatched before the surgery I had when I was a little kid. You know those Mater's Tall Tales Cars short films?
I don't know what you're talking about now.
They're these little Cars movie short films they had on DVD that I would always watch after surgery.
Mhm.
And I was bored the night before the surgery, so I put them on, and these came out in like, I think it was like, well, it would have been like a year after this movie came out.
Mhm.
And there's this one called Tokyo Drift Mater
Oh no.
with a with a car and all of the Japanese cars do the most racist accents that you have ever
Oh
heard.
no.
I was cackling.
Dude,
It was the
so
most. I can't even do an I can't do an impression without being canceled on Twitter. It was ridiculous. So
man,
it was weird. It was really common.
dude, like God, like that reminds me. I'm
That
working
reminds me. I
on
hate Asian people. That reminds me. We should stop Asian hate. We should keep it going. Let's
no,
get hashtag keep Asian hate going on
damn,
Twitter.
damn. So no, I'm working on a like video. It's like a 40-page script. Where I'm going through the Legend of Zelda
For
TV show,
immigration statistics and crime statistics,
and
the
that
birth rate.
that series has one episode in it that's maybe the most racist thing I've ever seen out of any like TV show I've ever
Was it
watched.
the Dick one?
The what one?
Dick, the Super Mario Brothers Super Show company.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Dick.
I was confused by what you meant for a second, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. Um,
I grew up on the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. That
I
show is
haven't
actually
seen it.
funny. Yeah, the
I
show's
haven't
good.
seen it. I want to watch it really bad, but
Um,
man, it
yeah,
like that is like this and that show are maybe like the two like most racist like humor things I've seen in like any capacity in like semi modern being like obviously like a stretch, but like media, you know?
yeah. But he goes back inside. Um, and like No, he goes back around to Judy's house because Limp Bizkit. I don't know why he dug it in the first place, and he sees that it's Asian people in the house. And then he
Yeah.
goes inside and he talks to his mom about it. And he says that Judy moved a week ago,
Yeah.
meaning that that scene that one of the first scenes in the movie of him stalking Judy didn't happen
That's right. I forgot.
because
The-
she wouldn't have gone to that house, which raises the question: is Judy real?
But that also raises the question, how did Kyle know to commentate on Judy being there?
Are any of these characters real?
See what I mean?
Is Fred
Like,
squatting in like a abandoned cul-de-sac?
this movie feels like a fucking K-hole.
It's
It's
so-
incredible.
It leaves you with so many questions in just this indescribable way.
Like I said, it's very Beau is Afraid. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
sure if you've seen that movie, but like in that movie, everything is like this weird hyperbole personification of fear. And like nothing in and of itself feels real, but it's real in the world that it exists within. And so therefore you have to accept that as reality.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're going through like some sort of schizotypal type
Yeah.
situation, which isn't funny, but it's impressive that it can make you feel that in this weird Nickelodeon movie. Then he packs his bags, including ketchup, and he wait. There's an invisibility cloak that doesn't
Right.
work.
Yeah.
That happens. Then
But it does happen
he
because
because he psychologically tortures Kevin while invisible.
yeah.
And it really made me realize, I was like, damn, this cracker, not from the hood, but you know a thing or two about pain and darkness.
For real. For
Damn.
real.
But he does that, and that cuts back to reality, and it's not that the invisibility cloak isn't real.
Yeah.
Then he walks downstairs, and John Cena is real. John Cena tells Fred that he has to go to the new house that Judy's at, which Judy probably moved because Fred sexually harasses her, let's be real.
Yeah.
So he then packs his bags, and then it cuts. He holds up a ketchup. He faces the camera. He says, "Do I need to pack ketchup? Do you think I need ketchup?"
Peak comedy.
And
This
then
is a surprise tool that'll help us later.
No, it isn't, because then
It is.
it cuts to him dressed in a Party City World War II American soldier costume, spraying ketchup on himself, acting like he's getting shot.
Yeah, yeah.
And that cuts back. There goes gravity. Step to the reality. He's back, and he's going to Judy's house. So he finds a bus, and Kevin is mysteriously at the bus stop. I think that Kevin represents Fred's conscience, actually. Because Fred knows the things that he does are wrong. He says, she's not dating you. She's not your girlfriend. Because Fred has delusions of grandeur and thinks that he's dating Judy. And they're going to, quote, take their relationship to the next level. And he makes this comment about Judy could never die.
I forgot about that.
Which just gives off like, oh, he's gonna kill this woman and put her in his freezer to like preserve her.
Yeah. It's very like Iowa Slipknot core, like Texas Chainsaw
It's very
Massacre.
Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, he does drag. We skipped over that.
He
It
does do
doesn't.
drag.
It
Yes,
doesn't. He
that's how he
slays.
finds out that there's Asian people and
Oh wait, yeah.
who
Yeah.
moved in. Yeah,
Okay, that's why he walked
yeah,
back around.
and
And
he,
Kevin was like checking him out. He's like,
yeah,
damn.
like I interpreted it more as like him like transvestigating Fred there,
He
which
was transvestigating Fred. He was liking what he saw.
yeah.
Damn bitch, I clocked you and you ain't
Kevin is a
bad.
chaser, confirmed, you guys.
Kevin a
Kevin is literally
chaser.
a chaser.
Um, yeah, he goes to the bus and
Yeah, because
Kevin,
he finds out where Judy lives. He like goes on he fully goes onto like Google Maps and basically doxes Judy.
which yeah, and tries looking through her window on Google Maps,
Yeah, yeah.
and it cuts to an Italian man reading the newspaper on the toilet, which
And
goes
then
hard until Fred is like, "Oh no, a guy pooped in her toilet. The poop's gonna be there forever. The ghost of the poop's gonna be there forever."
oh my god, this
It's like
fucking
you had a good thing
movie.
going. The image goes hard because
Oh, it's insane.
he looks like that one conservative meme of the cowboy with the giant mustache, who's like,
Yeah.
back in my day, we used to have our own drinking fountain and we liked it.
Dude.
Snowflake, like that sort of like real redneck meme. He looks like that
Yeah.
guy.
The image feels like AI generated. It's actually insane.
There's something like deeply odd about it. But
Yeah.
moving on,
Move it on.
he goes on the bus and there's this really like racist and ass thing where he's on the public bus and it cuts to
Yeah.
as scary music plays a Asian person, an Arab guy eating food, and a black dude.
Yeah.
Oh, and like a Turkish guy.
Yeah, and every time they pan to like a different minority, there's like a vine boom sound effect.
And there's like the the cutaway of Fred's disgusted reaction.
Yeah.
Um and he goes on the bus and there he talks to an alternative version of himself if he was cool called Durf.
Durf, my
Who's
goat.
like
This is the
who's
best
the goat?
character.
Who's like
He,
a non-binary like machine girl fan.
yeah, yeah, very
Um
like underground like punk rock scene.
they've been in the scene for a while. They know what's up.
Yeah.
They you they give you some good advice. A few words, but just a chill, reliable person. Like
Yeah.
if I needed someone to watch my gear, playing a show, I ask Durf.
Yeah, for sure, for
Durf
sure.
stays after the show to help you to help the drummer put the stuff in their car.
Mhm.
You
Durf
know?
is like the coolest roadie type vibe of
Yeah,
all
and
time.
they just show up. They're just there listening to the show, but they're still a nice person. They're like, "Hey, can I help you pack shit up?" And you're like, "Hell yeah, Durf."
Yeah, yeah. Shouts out Durf, man.
Shout out Durf. If you've got a
For real.
Durf in your life,
Tell him that you care.
tell him that you care. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Just like
Um.
give them a hug, like smoke maybe a little bit of weed with them. They seem like they would be into that.
Yeah. No, they give
Yeah.
off more of a shrooms vibe. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
They'll
Yeah, you're
like
right.
do anything as long as it came out of the dirt.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I fuck with Durf. I fuck with Durf heavy, but
Durf my goat.
in another weird psychological horror twist, the bus driver snaps and says, "End of the line." Fred says, "What?" He says, "End of the line." Fred says, Are you going to kill me? And then in just like the weirdest art house
Yeah.
horror film, it reveals that no one was on the bus the entire time.
Yeah, so Durf is not real. I think we can pretty comfortably
I
say.
think that Durf is another. I think that Durf is sort of Fred's ego, like
It's
his
very
perception of what he wishes he was,
it's
and
very like
Kevin is sort of his conscience.
yeah. This
And
movie feels very like weird specifically
it's
towards
sort
like
of like
people with BPD.
incompetented its way into like having good aspects to it.
Yeah, yeah. Again, like
Um,
it feels very like BPD rep, but like in a bad way, in like a way that like vilifies people with that. Like it's
yeah, this
insane.
movie's very ableist, by the way. We should
Oh,
get that.
it's so
The
ableist.
character of
It's
Fred,
so ableist.
when I said it's filthy frank for adults, that includes like the ableism within
Yeah,
filthy
yeah,
frank. Like
yeah.
that doesn't mean it's like you should show your kid this, especially because
Honestly,
of how misogynistic
this
this
movie
movie is.
feels like on par, if not maybe slightly more like ableist than like a good chunk of like the Filthy Frank stuff. To me.
Yeah, because with this movie, it's sort of like it feels more malicious.
Yeah.
If you're,
With
you know,
with like Filthy Frank, like the worst he would do is like call someone like the R slur,
uh,
whatever. Like
uh,
like
um,
that's
wait,
90%. Not all of it. So
we're gonna
like
the worst thing he did is say the N word a lot, but
okay. Okay.
I
Fair. But no,
but
like in regards
as
to that.
misguided as a lot of the Filthy Frank stuff might have been,
Yeah.
whenever fucking what's the guy's name? The guy that played Filthy Frank, he makes music. Jody?
Joji.
Joji. Whenever Joji
George Miller.
talked
George Miller.
yeah, whenever George Miller or Joji talked about it, you could tell that he was sort of mocking the 4chan type of person
Yeah.
that was, and it was sort of a commentary on YouTube culture at the time that people didn't get.
Mm.
A lot of that was because he didn't do a good job with the satire in a lot of cases, but it was
Right.
an attempt at satire regardless. Whereas Fred was just what Filthy Frank was a satire of.
Yeah. He's like the embodiment of that culture.
It's sort of the difference between what's Bamboozled and like a minstrel show. um More extreme example, but you kind of get me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if regardless, back to the bus. If things couldn't get any more creepy, he's in a he walks out and it's a Gmod liminal space
Yes. You
of
have
a
like
pool with a water slide in the middle of a desert with mountains.
yeah, there's just like one pool, one like water slide, but it's not like colorful or like fun to look at. It's like this deep like bluish gray color
Dude,
and
Redditors,
it's all
when a
so
Redditor
muted.
watches this movie, the moment that they see that scene, they all die. They're just like, holy
Yeah.
freaking liminal.
Yeah.
That's
Like
so scary.
this movie deserves like an SCP entry. Like
it's it's
fully.
it's profoundly odd. And Bertha is there, even though she was on the she was back with Fred not too long ago, and she's in a
Yeah.
swimsuit, lounging on the only chair there
Yeah.
as
Which
a
again leads me to believe that Bertha isn't real.
yeah as a is a lone pool cleaner, fishes for the shit someone had in the pool.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
like I said, we're skipping over. If I had to go over every piss shit fart
Yeah, we're gonna be here for a
yelling,
decade.
every other
Like,
joke is just him screaming. He starts screaming randomly in the movie. But Bertha asks him where his swimsuit is. He says he doesn't want to take off his clothes because he's too sexy. He says too much
yeah,
sex appeal,
yeah, too
which
much sex appeal.
that's an okay one-liner. I was shocked that that made it in the movie. But regardless, she says they have like the most nothing conversation. She's randomly like, "Want to try something?" She buries his head under the sand. Well,
Yeah,
she buries his body under the sand, so it's just his head, and she abandons him for an unknown amount of time. We see him eat a fly to survive, and
yeah,
then a group of people run towards him. Then Judy and what the fuck is the kid's name? Like Nick, Kyle, whatever.
hmm.
Nick,
Kyle.
Kyle, whatever.
Yeah,
Limp Bizkit and Judy are in the pool and they start singing together. And then Kyle kicks Fred in the head.
yeah. So like, this whole scene is like the like dehydrated like illusions of his mind, like before he's going to die because he's
Yeah,
been in
and
like the
then
sand for like a week.
oh, there goes gravity. Oh, oh, he's back, and Bertha had just been walked away from him for like 5 minutes,
Yeah, yeah,
and he's covered in sand now.
yeah,
So even though he's in the middle of the desert, it cuts to him walking down the street to a coin laundry, which I
yeah.
mean,
Because he like fully raises out of this sand that they like fully established that he could not get out of, but then he just does it.
he is Jesus Christ himself.
Yeah, like
Um,
trying to describe this movie is like trying to describe like a nightmare like a week after you've
it's
had it.
trying to describe your DMT trip. You're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, and then the clockwork elf. He gave me the key to the city, but the
Mhm.
city was my own mind, which, as we
Yeah.
already established, was it fucking just the color. I don't even know what I don't think it's a color that human eyes
Yeah.
can perceive, but that was the key to my mind that the clockwork elf gave me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same vibe, but he he walks to the coin laundry, and I mean, the mafia. The now I've heard of money laundry, but this is getting ridiculous. They got whole buildings for it at this point.
For real.
Yeah.
For real.
And he strips down to his underwear, and a gay black man, like, they start singing together, and there's just so much sexual tension. Like,
Yeah. It's
he's gonna
bad.
slam his head against the laundry machine and bend him over. It's like, but then he gets scared and he runs away to a
To a
car
car
wash
wash, yeah.
where he gets washed, and then he comes out of it mewing with a Jimmy Neutron haircut,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, okay, white boy Elvis swag on him.
Yeah, it's
They
very much like the stereotypical like Elvis kind of cut, like 60s greaser vibes kind of.
He looks
But
cool as
like
fuck.
Yeah, it's
And that
fucking
cuts to him
sick.
singing a disco song with Judy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird sequence. I don't know.
Fred the type of guy to say that Tame Impala is just one person. Fred the
Yeah,
type of guy. Fred the type of guy to pull his pants down at a urinal. I'm
that's
so
true.
tired.
That's actually very accurate. Um, and his dick's like huge, so you can't even blame
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he has to, man. He's got no other choice.
him.
Can
Yeah,
you tell that like my brain has rotted at this point?
it's
Like,
gone.
yeah,
Um,
it's actually Jover. It's so Jover.
so after getting out of the car wash, he goes to a our favorite characters in the movie. The the fucking let me I have to look up who played.
Oh, it was Oscar Nunez. If
Yeah,
you're talking about
Oscar
the pet
Nunez
store.
is in this movie, and
Yeah,
he's one of my two favorite characters. Oscar Nunez and his sassy gay husband own a
yeah,
pet
yeah.
store, and
Very like gay coded.
genuinely they slay. They're
Yeah.
like so slay pussy queen. You
Yeah,
know,
like we were like half joking about like the like Kyle possible like gay coding stuff, mainly I was, but like this is fully like
it was
actually
like
like trying to
it
be
was actually good, funny gay representation
yeah.
because they were like they were so great. They were like great together, and he accidentally Nunez he accidentally pepper sprays his sassy husband, who I love, is like, this is worse than the time that you had me stay at the Marriott, which that's funny.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was good.
That was a good bit. That was a
This
good bit.
that scene would have been well written if it weren't for Fred in it, because the they try to make the main joke of the scene. They calls dogs squirrels,
Yeah, so this is a like a fascinating part of like the Fred lore, the Fred like multiverse, if you will. He like deeply intrinsically believes that like any type of dog is a squirrel.
which is just such a lame joke. That just sucks ass.
I didn't even like start to think it was a joke anymore. I like fully like I was like being like gaslit into thinking, "Oh yeah, you know what? That dog is a squirrel." Yeah, that makes sense. Because
Damn,
like shit, I mean, this movie like
you
that
caught
that
Fred disease. It's over.
I
You
I
caught
did, man. I
Frades.
did. I did. This is what happens. I grew
This is
up
what
on this movie.
happens,
I'm like a sleeper agent now. It's
dude.
it's wild.
The Frades epidemic has to come to an end. One like is one prayer. Um. So, oh my god. After that, he goes to a dam and he just says,
Right.
"Damn."
Right. So way before this, I think it's like a little bit after like the pool scene where he gets like put into like the sand or whatever. We get a flashback to like Fred's childhood,
Oh yeah.
and there's this character little Evan Wes, right? And he is
Who
basically
represents
playing
West Side
catch.
Gun?
Yeah, for sure. He's playing catch with this
New
guy,
York
with this like
represent.
kid. Um and they're like by these woods, and Fred grabs the ball, throws it too far, like young Fred, and it goes into the
Young Fred
woods.
is a banger like rapper name.
It is actually
Young Fred
young
on
Sheldon
it.
too. So he tosses it like too far into the woods. Little Evan West goes to get it, and is never heard from again for presumably like
And
15 years or so.
again, they have they have an okay unexpected tone shift happening. except it cuts to Fred pissing himself, and it just becomes
Yep,
unfunny.
yep, yep.
Like
Like, yeah,
all the humor in it just leaves.
down, back to zero. Um, but yeah, we get to that dam,
And
and
there's the Deliverance,
this guy.
like this Deliverance banjo ass motherfucker.
Yeah, so there's the one guy who I guess runs the dam, and he's like a great
He's
value.
also the the guardian spirit of the forest.
Yes, yes. But he's like this great value version of Matthew Lillard. And he's like doing kind of like this Doug Dimmadome impression, but with a dam.
He just reminded me of the Ku Klux Klan members from Django Unchained, which I mean, he was he was a security guard, so maybe this movie's kind of based actually.
No, so yeah, and then
Um,
but
so
this character has to be like a figment of his imagination too, right? Because he knows
yeah,
about Evan.
yeah, unless it's
But Evan is almost certainly another figment because he's never brought
maybe
up outside of that context. And
maybe
on top of
Evan represents what Fred lost that caused him to be this broken person.
it was like his like nexus point, like something traumatic happened to Fred. Maybe like he
Something
himself.
traumatic happened to Evan, and Evan became Fred.
It's like the movie Us, where like we find out at like the very beginning that like the real Fred and like the Chaos Fred raised by wolves like swapped places somewhere, and now like the incorrect Fred is the real Fred that we've been following this
Yeah,
entire movie.
it's like Fight Club if it was about an actual incel instead of like an incel's idea of what an incel is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so he goes into the forest, and there's a deer voiced by a shitty Eddie Murphy impressionist,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
knock
Like,
off Donkey from Shrek.
yeah. Like if that guy was like a knockoff Matthew Lillard, this guy's the knockoff Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. And it wasn't like paying homage. It just felt like they were just stealing.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, by the way,
Talking animal jokes are never funny, by the way.
yeah, yeah. By the way, guess the budget of this movie.
Oh, it's got to be like upsettingly high. I'm gonna say like probably
Guess.
it's a TV movie. I'm gonna say like 5 million.
It was 4 million. Damn it.
Damn, I was right on the money.
Now it's like one of those bits where it's like, oh, you were supposed to guess way lower. And
No,
now it's like
no, a
upsetting
four
by
million budget for this
comparison.
movie makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah,
Does it
they
really?
have John Cena on it. That
They
do you know
gave
how
like
expensive making a
three.
movie is?
They gave like 350 million of it
Like if you're
strictly
under
to
a
John
million
Cena.
dollars, that's like a micro budget movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so 4 million that completely makes sense. Um, that doesn't mean that they spent the money well, but
Yeah.
um,
They got like Oscar Nunez, John Cena. That was
okay.
the entire budget.
And we have officially entered the third act. Thank God.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is personally the best act. I think the best act of the movie.
I don't know. I like in
Bec-
some ways it's the best because it's the most muted, but there's no like way to go from here, sort of.
um, but the best act of the movie is like saying, um, the best Hitler quote. It's like
Yeah. Fair enough.
it's like
Fair
saying my
enough.
favorite part of Mein Kampf. It's like
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
like it's It was funny when he talked about Henry Ford in it. I mean,
Yeah, we're, we're only working with so much here,
yeah,
you
like,
know.
does that mean it's good? No, I'm not gonna give it to him. Except if I had to pick, I guess the part where he talked about Henry Ford. Um, then Evan Winston is in the forest, and then they do a okay Tom Hanks Castaway like Winston thing where he like found the ball.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
it's not bad by the standards of this movie because he didn't like pee his pants and it just showed a close up of it, but
yeah,
it sucks because he
yeah,
just screams and runs away.
yeah. By the standards of this movie, this is one of the funniest jokes
By
in
the
the entire
standards,
movie.
I was like impressed by it when it happened because I was so
Yeah, yeah,
beaten down by this movie. I was just trying to like, I was sort of like comedy coaching this movie. I was like, okay, you got
yeah,
a good subversion of expectations there. However,
yeah.
um, that happens and he runs away, and then he magically materializes in front of Judy's house in the middle
Mhm.
of the suburbs without a forest nearby. Meaning, again, this didn't happen.
Yeah, yeah. So all of that just like dematerialized, and we're just at the house again. It's so fucking Bo is afraid.
It's
Like,
so trippy.
yeah, like a good like 2/3 of this movie is just like following Fred on his like bus misadventures to eventually get to Judy's house. And like once
Yeah,
we're there, it's like the same like bit where it's like, oh, like Bo gets knocked out and then all of a sudden he's at the destination, right?
it feels
Like,
like um staying up for like 48 hours with a friend on a amphetamine bender.
yeah. Like this is like the kind of thing that like in the early 2000s you would like wake up to, and this would be on like Nick at Night. Like you'd wake up to this at like 5 in the morning, hear like the George Lopez theme and like get this exact emotion.
Yeah. Um
I don't know if
okay,
anybody got
okay.
that.
At
But
pause. Fuck you for saying the George Lopez theme. I think that you
why?
meant to say War, a very good funk band. I hate that they're known as the George Lopez theme people because they're so good. I love War.
Okay, but also like
You're
George
just like
Lopez
Brad
theme is
taste in
like,
music. You're a
hey, hey,
colonizer.
hey, hey, whoa, whoa, let's be careful. Let's be careful, man. George Lopez kind of goaded, and if you can't recognize that, there's no hope.
He is, except it's sort of like, man,
Whatever. We're at the best part of the movie,
we're
pretty
at the
much.
best
We
part of the
we
movie.
gotta we gotta
We're
move on.
at we're at his like it gives the same vibes as that footage of Elliot Rodger like
Yeah, yeah.
showing up
Oh,
outside of the party.
yeah.
Um
Got it.
yeah,
One.
he shows up
Sorry.
at Judy's house and she's having a party and everyone there is like, "What are you doing here? You weren't invited." And he's just like, did you guys just like break in or something?" And they're like,
Yeah,
"No, you loser, get out."
yeah.
And then
So like this goes on for so long,
and
but
Limp Bizkit is just tearing into him, deservingly so, because he's a like a danger to himself and others, and like stalking a random woman.
yeah, because remember, don't forget, this entire premise is solely revolved around Fred like stalking someone who is A, British apparently, and B, could possibly be a figment of his imagination.
I think that she's real because she doesn't know Fred
But why is she British when this is
because the
like
actor
like
that played her couldn't do an American accent.
But but why didn't they just get a different actress?
Do you think that anyone involved in this movie cared?
This is a cinematic A24 art piece. All of them cared.
Yeah, it's just like A24. It sucks and it's woke bullshit.
Boo.
It's
Boo.
hipster bullshit.
Boo.
So Judy's like, I don't know you. You need to leave right now. And he
Yeah.
doesn't leave, and he's like, what happened to the Judy I know? Can you show her to me?
Yeah, it's so
So
fucking
creepy.
creepy. It's
Abysmal.
so
Just
creepy.
like
Oh, rancid shit. Rancid shit.
just like the if you want to understand why we pick the bear and not the man, watch this movie. He doesn't want to leave, so Limp Bizkit's clowning on people, start filming, and he he like pushes lasagna up against his shirt to embarrass him, which he should have just punched him, honestly. And then he throws up on the floor, and then throws up on Judy, and
Again, he
leaves
throws up twice. Yeah.
yeah, and leaves screaming and crying like an
Yeah.
insane person.
But then all of a sudden, like Judy like is like at the door like, "Wait, come
No, she's
back."
in the yard saying, "Wait, come back," and it doesn't show her leaving the house. So that I think that was a figment of Fred's imagination, and Judy is
Right.
just inside,
Oh, that's fascinating.
like
So like
horrified about what happened.
yeah, so like Judy like in reality, like we saw but like that was our first glimpse of reality. And that like wait come back was Fred like imagining a scenario in which he can still possibly get with her.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
yeah, and then
Wow.
there's a, a scene that I do think is real is the bus driver who knows Fred sees him like walking on the side of the road
Mhm.
and says if he needs a ride, he'll do it for free. And there is just this gorgeous melancholy
Oh yeah.
series of shots of him riding the bus.
Yeah.
And
It's
there's
stunning.
the shot from the Joker where
The Joker.
he's
Yeah.
like
So
leaning out a window and looking at his reflection in it. It's
Mhm.
like it's well done,
Yeah.
except the
Yeah.
music ruins it because the music's like really fun. But what
And then
we
he goes
did
to like and
is
then
we
he goes to
is we stopped the movie. We put on by time I get to Phoenix by Injury Reserve
yeah, outside the
outside.
like
Yeah, yeah.
intro to
The
that.
intro
Yeah.
track. It went
Goes
so
insane.
hard.
Goes insane. And then we did Me and the Birds by
Me and the
Duster
birds when he gets
over
home and
over
his
the
mom's
party.
like, the video of you getting clown now was posted.
Yeah. But like one thing to like keep in mind too is like this entire movie, the lighting is so fucking overexposed.
Yeah.
Like I
And
cannot like tell you that more. But when it gets to night and we have that like
the
ride
bus
back,
scene,
yeah,
it's like, did they, it's so weird. It's like yellowed out
yeah,
and surreal.
yeah,
And it
it's
kind of makes me think for a second, did they know what they were doing? Because
right,
it doesn't, it's subtle and it doesn't draw attention to itself. This movie hasn't
yeah,
used shots effectively outside of this.
yeah, and like the whole thing as a result of that like overexposure, but like the dim lighting, it makes it very grimy, filled with like these like dark like greens. It's very
It
like
gave off like
jigsaw.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, yeah,
Fantastic film.
yeah,
Um,
like almost like Blair Witchy in some regards too.
yeah. Um,
But
very good, but again,
Yeah.
As is with everything in this movie, they found a way to ruin it. And they had shitty royalty-free music.
They also had Fred like lick up the vomit off of his shirt because he
What
got
was it?
vomit on his shirt. They also had
Oh, they
Fred
also
like
have
lick
him
up
licking
vomit.
lasagna off of his shirt, which also does ruin it.
No, 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 no. It wasn't lasagna. I thought that was like his vomit from when he threw up at the party.
No, that was the spot with the lasagna. They wouldn't do something that
Really?
nasty.
Are you sure they wouldn't?
Yeah, that wasn't the
Are you
vomit.
sure they wouldn't? Okay.
That actually they might, but
Like,
that would have been. They try to keep a consistent tone and effectively, and I think that would have.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. To them, like consistent tone is like ruining every possible like good scene that they can to keep the like bad consistency.
Their idea of a consistent tone is randomly like doing like really genuinely fucked up shit,
Yeah.
but making it quirky and silly by having like whimsical music over it.
Right. Yeah.
Um
Anyway, we got to keep trucking through this.
yeah,
We do.
we're so close to the end.
Yeah.
Um he decides to, as revenge for not getting invited to a party by a girl he didn't talk to in revenge for the YouTube video, he decides to give everyone at the party letters that say that they're not invited to a party he's having.
Mhm.
And then with the femcell, they they get fucking wasted and start partying and make a compilation of it,
Yeah. So
which is crazy because they're meant to be in middle school.
yeah, so like Bertha, like Jeanette McCurdy is like one of the like most normal characters in the show besides Durf. And like they just like have such a long montage. Like they switched the song 3 different times, just going on for like 4 minutes of just like montage, montage, montage. It's insane.
It kind of goes a little bit hard.
A little.
A
It feels
little.
like it should be set to like Streaky by Death Grips.
Yeah,
Like,
it sucks. Like
yeah.
we're except it sucks in just such a unique fashion.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um
truly.
and he uploads a video of this faked crazy party, and then everyone's jealous that they couldn't go and likes
Yeah.
Fred, and they do a bunch of like interviews of the random
Well,
students about Fred.
well, before that, there's a good part of like the second montage where everybody's there at the party, where like the mom is there and she's like breakdancing, and then they're all playing spin the bottle, and
And Fred got
and
bitches on his dick.
Fred ends up like playing that with his mom, and they land together, and so his mom like kisses Fred.
On the cheek.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable because she's drunk.
Yeah.
And then she's like shown passed out drunk with like a Weekend at Bernie's type situation where she's in sunglasses and
Yeah.
they're Weekend at
Mhm.
Bernie's-ing her and like having her be a DJ in the video. Um but that everyone thinks Fred's cool. And
Yeah.
there's also a part where John Cena's in a Humvee
Mhm.
and dressed up as a
Oh
soldier with
yeah,
Fred.
that's way earlier. Like
Yeah, I like
just before he like leaves on the like bus to find Judy. Like he's laying
no,
in
don't explain.
bed.
I'm done. Don't explain it.
Okay,
They
okay.
don't. Fuck this movie, man. Fuck this movie.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not explaining it. This movie sucks. It
Yeah, yeah,
sucks. It
yeah.
sucks.
Don't let's not even cover the ending. Let's
No,
just
okay, we'll cover the ending.
okay.
There is a weirdly sexual shot of the girl who is meant to be in middle school, who they hired like a Victoria's Secret model to play
Yeah.
her like legs, and then she's like hinting at wanting to fuck Fred,
Yeah.
and that's how the movie ends
Well,
with
no,
Fred inviting.
it's Judy. It's Judy.
Yeah, Judy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they invite her inside,
Which is also
which is
probably a
insane
figment of his
because
imagination.
I thought that they were gonna be like, don't harass women. There are
Yeah.
women who will like you, and that's what
Or
Bertha is. Except he just
just out of the blue, she shows up at his door. And like there was like tension there between like Bertha and him too. Like they could have gone that
okay.
route.
But tension by the standards of this movie means she didn't look like she was looking for like the nearest sharp object to
Yeah.
defend herself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
God.
yeah, and that's Fred.
That's
That's Fred the movie. Guess I'll rate
you
it as we do on this show. Like, is it the worst movie ever? No, it's not the worst type of movie. Like, it was fun watching it with you for a bit,
Yeah.
and then the novelty kind of wears off. But it doesn't overstay its welcome.
It's
It's just that I had to
fascinating.
put a lot of effort in to
Yeah.
keep it funny.
Yeah. Like you get like this progression of emotions as you watch it. Like it starts off where it's like, "Oh, this is so stupid. This is hilarious. God, I can't wait to like watch this movie." And like by the end, it's like you've gone on this
You're
like
like,
expansive journey.
this movie's fucked up and it
Yeah.
sucks.
It
There-
like gaslights you, it like emotionally manipulates you. Like
yeah.
my reality has been distorted and shit. Like
Um,
fuck.
we're gonna let me look at the composting official movie ranking.
God damn.
The two lowest ranked movies we have are Cyber Seduction, His Secret Life, which is a 4 out of 30, and Girl Finds Out She's Adopted feature film Darman, which is 1.5 out of 30.
Nice.
Um, it's not as funny bad as Seduction, and
Mm.
it's not as much of a slog as Girl Finds Out She's Adopted. So with that in mind, I'm thinking like 3 out of 30. Like it's not the worst movie ever, except it it really sucks.
Yeah.
It's it's
Yeah.
not the worst movie ever because like at least there's not it's not like I was gonna say at least it's not racist, but it is racist. At
Yeah.
least at least it's not super racist.
Man, it's fascinating because this I would consider to be like a so bad it's good movie, but like not in the way that you would picture a so bad it's good movie being.
It
Like
just
like
it's so bad it's good because it's a slog in a way that gives you weird
yeah.
just like unsettling vibes. The movie
Yeah.
is horrible vibes, and that's what
Yeah.
makes it not a like point 0.5 out of 30.
It's like if The Room is like the Avengers, then this is like Hereditary, if that makes sense. Like if The Room, Troll 2 are like these big, like hilarious, like kind of like blockbuster things everybody who's into like bad movies is going to want to watch. This is like the art house equivalent of that. This is like the
Yeah,
nightmare realm distortion of that.
it's funny in the way where you have to like think about it to find the humor in it. You can't like turn off your brain
Yeah.
because then
Yeah.
it sucks. Which
Yeah. Yeah. This is like the real man's
which
like
like
bad movie.
that's why cyber seduction is better because at least you don't have to like work to find the funny. Like
Yeah.
it is just fucking funny.
Yeah. Like you can't throw this on at like a party and laugh at it, you
But
know?
what you can
Like
throw on at a party is the re-edit that I'm gonna make of it because that will be
true,
very
true,
funny.
true.
Um,
That that will be great.
yeah. Speaking of rapists, um, Drake
Fascinating.
Drake just dropped, and it's.
A great song.
Do
It's
you want
incredible.
to talk about it? You're a Brad Taste in music
Yeah.
knockoff, so you can.
So I've been like following like the Drake Kendrick bullshit or whatever,
Well, everyone
and
has.
obviously,
Not
and
special, Whitey.
and you know, Drake like just like a few weeks ago came out with like The Heart Part 6 and we all know how that went. It's terrible. He's like being super like on the defensive. At the end he
Drake
sounds like tired as
Drake
fuck.
him with a. You think AIDS is bad? Wait till I drop HIV, bro.
Yeah, so a few weeks later he comes through with this song where he's featured on some other guy's track who's like signed to OVO, and it's a comedic question mark asterisk cover
I
of
would just
Hey
say
There Delilah.
racist,
It's
personally.
also very racist. It's also very racist. Um
Is the worst song. It is. Um. Yeah.
yeah.
It's just the worst. There's a bunch of technical mistakes, and it's a cover of "Hey There, Delilah"
Hey There Delilah. Plain white
called
tees.
"Wagwan Delilah," and he does a. Can I do an impression of the accent?
No. No, you cannot. It's like trying to make fun of Canadian people because Kendrick called him a Canadian, and so he's trying to be like, "Oh yeah, I can make fun of that too, you guys," but it
Except
comes off as like racist as fuck.
except by he's so used to being a colonizer that he thinks
Yeah,
Canadian means appropriating Jamaican.
yeah,
Like if you,
yeah. It, it's a fascinating
it's
song.
hilarious. I recommend everyone listen to it.
Yeah, for sure.
When it dropped, I I dropped everything I was doing, and
Me too. Yeah.
I barged into my where my the room that my dad was in. I said, "Dad, Drake just released a cover of Hey There Delilah called Wagwan Delilah." And we were both acting like the way that you would act like saying, "Dad, a second plane has hit the tower."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We were in complete disbelief, just like watching it,
yeah,
knowing that we're watching history.
yeah.
I think
Sir, a second
he won
song
the
has hit.
beef with this because
Oh, for
it's
sure. Yeah,
incredible,
yeah. He won. He won. Kendrick cannot come back from
dude.
this.
It's like saying it would be like getting into an argument with someone and them being like, "You're racist," and you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm racist." You take out the shoe polish, start smearing it all over yourself, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Watch this," and you just do a
Yeah.
full minstrel show.
Yeah. That's
It's like not
exactly
even
it.
a good minstrel show. It's just the most unbelievable
Yeah.
thing. And honestly, I respect anybody that doubles down in an argument. And gee, I didn't expect him to double down on the "you're a racist who appropriates cultures that you're not a part of.
Mhm. Yeah. God.
Great. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
also in this movie they wear like weird racist Jamaican clothing with dreads.
They do. They
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
It was a different time. It was a
We
different
cannot
time.
keep entertaining this movie. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Wow.
um,
This anything else you want to touch on?
um, what else did I want to touch on? God, um, so when are we doing the two sequels?
Damn, you a little clout goblin, huh?
Yeah,
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 you get a
yeah,
modicum of clout. You're like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You know, we Night of the Living Fred, Fred 3 Camp Fred.
Night of the
We
Living Fred is that's fucking that doing a Night of the Living Dead parody, a film about the civil rights movement, but putting Fred in it is insane.
Well, no, it's about vampires.
Did you become disabled from watching this movie? Night of the Living
I
Dead is about zombies.
Well, yeah, but the Fred movie's about vampires.
Oh, so the people who made the movie. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay, man. It's Fred that we're talking about
Dude,
here. It's distorting our perceptions of reality at this point.
dude, I'm why don't we go watch the sequels? Dude, it's like
Two more left.
I just got over the fact that my cousin died when the first tower was hit. I don't
Yeah,
and
right.
I've got and my sister works in the other one and my cousin works in the
Works at the
Pentagon.
Pentagon. Yeah.
And I'm fine with that cousin dying. They're a piece of shit, but it's like
Damn.
I got to process.
Yeah, yeah. Well, sorry to do that act of mental terrorism on you there, but
You're like it's it's anti-Semitic, frankly.
damn. Damn.
This was like 10 9/11s, as Benjamin Netanyahu said. I can't believe he said that. That was so funny.
I didn't even know he said
He
that.
said
That's a
that.
great
He said that on
quote.
like
Oh
the
my god.
8th.
I'm adding that to my vocabulary. That's incredible.
Dude, that made me consider becoming a Zionist. I'm like, damn, we really are the funniest people.
Shit.
But do you want to shout yourself out?
Yeah, sure.
Brad Taste in Music on YouTube.
Yeah, man. I do a bunch of shit. I occasionally stream on Twitch. I'm not in June though because I got stuff going on. I'll be back in July.
You're not in
Um,
June because you and
yeah.
your buddies in Patriot Front are you're gonna take back the month.
Yeah, I gotta take the month to kind of decompress after watching Fred the movie, you know. So none of that. I do YouTube stuff. I promise one day I'll make a good video. Ash to
You're
Ash,
getting
look
there.
that up. Someday, not today.
You're
From
nowhere
that,
near as good as that one Fred video where he meets Weezer.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God, it's Weezer. Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey,
I
Fred."
I write for the publication Microdose on Cybergrind. If you want to check that out, it's like some underground like metal music stuff. Check that
Yeah.
out.
My school
Um
banned cyber grinding at prom.
Damn, that's so fucked. How will we
Guy
ever
with the
recover?
Google Glass on. I'm cyber grinding.
I'm cyber grinding so
He's
hard right
recording with
now.
his Google Glass.
Oh man. So I do that. I make ambient drone music. still under Ash2Ash, and
You're like Boris if they
yeah,
weren't Japanese.
for real, exactly. Um, I not sure how much I should actually say about this just yet, but I am doing a live show coming up. It's a URL fest, so you can just watch it on the internet. It's June 23rd. It's hosted by Amai. It's part of a music festival called Home Video 2024. It's like a charity event thing. It's a whole big deal. Artists like Turquoise Death are on there, and those are just like ones that have been announced for it already. But I'll be
Hell
there
yeah.
too.
It's like
So
America's funniest home videos, but punk.
exactly. Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. So yeah, check that out. That'll be a My Home Video 2024. It's AMAII. Check it the fuck out. Again, charity event, big deal. Outside of that, yeah, I think that's about all that I'm doing right now. Yeah, that's it. That wasn't
Yeah.
a lot. That wasn't anything. I'm not doing anything, you guys. Um,
Yeah, and patreon.com/composting.
real as fuck. Real as fuck.
Yeah, and subscribe. We have a Twitter. If you want to hear my my now homeless co-host randomly tweet about events happening.
Yeah.
Joku's safe. Shit's been rough, but we'll be back to it soon. The one good thing coming up is we are going on a road trip together. We're going to do podcasts together on the road, which will be fun.
Yes.
So you got that to look forward to, and I've got a couple of big projects in the works that you guys will have to
Whoa.
look forward to. But
Whoa.
that's been composting.
Oh yeah.
Do you I'm gonna knock off Hive Mind. Do you have any advice for these people leave or live their lives by?
Advice for these people to lead or live their lives by. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Dude, that's kind of like Kendrick Lamar as fuck, because it's don't
Yeah.
be afraid, but it's also
Yeah.
a Fred.
E-
Dude,
exactly.
that's fucking
Yeah.
damn. And they say white people can't rap.
hmm
You might not have grown up in the hood, but
I'd like to see Drake.
you know
I do know a thing
or
about
two.
Pain and Darkness.
It's true.